Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming. We're going to take a look at Lemartes, the Guardian of the Lost. He's a chaplain of the Blood Angels chapter. He comes with two different abilities which are quite nice. He has the standard chaplain loadout with a slightly better Crozius Arcanum. He is a jump pack unit, so he is fast and can deep strike. He can only join the one unit though, but he is usable in all four detachments for Blood Angels. And he does have a great new model, so let's jump into it. Looking at his datasheet, he's 110 points. Comes out at movement 12, toughness 4, 2 up save, 4 up invulnerable save, 4 wounds, leadership 5, and objective control 1. He is deep strike, so he can come in the reinforcement step of your movement phase, anywhere outside of 9 inches of an enemy model. His funeral pain 6+ to try and ignore some of those wounds. And he has the leader core rule, so he can join unit. Taking a look at his range profile, he comes in at ballistic skill 2. He has the Absolver pistol, which has the pistol keyword, so he can shoot when in engagement range. He has an 18-inch range, 1 attack, strength 5, -1 EP, and 2 damage, so pretty standard for a chaplain. His melee comes in at a weapon skill 2+. He comes with the Blood Crozius, which is just an Arcanian Crozius, and this comes with lethal hits, so critical hits automatically wound the opponent. It has 5 attacks, strength 6, -2 AP, and 2 damage. Looking at his abilities, he comes with 2, the first being Guardian of the Lost. While the model is leading a unit, each time an attack is allocated to a model in the unit, you get to subtract 1 from the damage. This is quite nice with the funeral pain as well, because it makes them a whole lot more durable. Secondly is Fury Unbound. While this model is leading a unit, melee weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits ability, so really ramping up what your Death Company can do. So what unit can he join? It can only join Death Company with jump packs. It's 130 points for 5 models or 240 points for a 10-man unit. Their ability grants rerolls to hit in melee, which is very nice. And they come with a Funeral Pain 6+. They also can reroll charge rolls, which makes them more efficient at getting into combat. For every 5 models in the unit, you can take an Eviscerator, which is a really souped up chainsword. It comes in at strength 7, which is very nice. And 1 model in the unit can take a power fist as well. You can also upgrade one of the pistols to a plasma pistol. And then in addition to this, for every 5 models, 1 model can take a power fist and an infernal pistol. So if you've got a standard 5-man unit, you're going to take 1 Eviscerator, 2 power fists, a plasma pistol, and an infernal pistol. So you've got a decent amount of firepower for range and melee there. Looking at the detachments he can be used in. First one being the Liberator Assault Group, which is the main Blood Angels detachment. The detachment rule grants +1 attacks and +2 strength on the charge, which is very nice. This moves Lemartes onto 6 attacks at strength 8, which is quite a nice profile to be at. He will be wounding Space Marines on 2s now. Taking a look at the stratagems. First one being Angelic Grace. This gives 5+ funeral pain against mortal wounds. So the unit already has 6+, so this just moves you to the 5+ against mortal wounds, giving you that extra durability. It's a 50% increase in your funeral pain. Savage Echoes, this is +1 to either attacks or strengths when charged, but you do have the option to become battle shocked and take both. Then we have Red Rampage. This is a lance or lethal hits, and again, if you want to be battle shocked, you get to take both of them. Then Aggressive Onslaught, you can shoot or charge after advancing, and once again, if you decide to become battle shocked, you will be able to do both. Relentless Assault, fall back and shoot or charge, again, option to take both. Next we have Angelic Host, so this is mainly the Sanguinary Guard detachment, but there are uses for you. So at the end of the opponent's turn, you can select 2 jump pack units, this is for a strike force game, and you can place them in Strategic Reserve. In your next movement phase, you can use the Deep Strike ability, so it gives you the option of moving around the board a little bit quicker and potentially setting up more juicy charges. Looking at the stratagems, you've got Angelic Sacrifice. This forces all enemy units within engagement range of this unit to target this unit. This is quite nice if you've got a unit that's potentially doing an action to score secondaries, which you want them to survive. Sometimes you score it at the end of your opponent's turn, at the end of your next turn. So this pours it all onto your Death Company, and they do have the funeral pain as well, and the reduction in damage with Lemartes, so they can really tank quite a bit of damage and hopefully save a unit that you want to keep alive. You've got Martial Exemplars. A jump pack unit gains the lethal hits and precision keyword for the melee weapon, so you've already got the lethal hits with Lemartes, but the precision is really nice if you want to hunt some characters. They've got Death from the Skies. You get to advance or fall back and still be able to shoot and declare a charge, which is very nice. Anytime you can get your Death Company to advance and charge is always going to be beneficial, because they do get to re-roll that charge as well. So with the standard 12-inch movement, and then you're going to advance 3 to 4 inches, and then a re-roll and charge, it gives you a massive threat range. Next we have the Angelic Inheritors. This is the Grotmus detachment. At the start of the game you can select 2 of the below to be active for character units, and since we have Lemartes in the Death Company, they are a character unit. So you get the option of fall back and still be able to shoot and charge, reroll hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls as well, and reroll advance and charge rolls. So you really want to be taking the rerolls to the hits and wound and the advance and charge rolls. We do already have the baked in rerolls to hit, as well as the charges, but the advance and the wound rolls on 1 is quite nice to have. Looking at the stratagems, you've got Striking Out for Glory. The ranged weapons gain the Sustain Hits keyword. Now this might be a very niche moment in the game where you need to kill one unit and charge another. Bear in mind you do have a plasma pistol, but in a squad of 5, a plasma pistol, an infernal pistol, 3 bolt pistols, and the absolver pistol. So you do have a fair bit of damage you can output with that. Sustain Hits 1 is going to ramp them up a little bit if you manage to hit those 6s. With Unto Burning Skies, you get to place 1 jump pack unit into strategic reserve at the end of the opponent's fight phase. This is very nice, especially towards the end of the game, if you want to drop down and take an objective or score something like behind enemy lines. This allows you more opportunities to score secondary points. Also gives you the option of setting up those long range charges that you might want to do. Finally, we have Lost Brethren, which is the Death Company detachment. So Death Company models can reroll wound rolls of 1 in melee if they're starting below strength. And if they're below half strength, they get to reroll the wound roll. So it is quite strong, but it's kind of like the first company in Space Marines. You have to have taken damage for it to activate, which always makes it a little bit awkward, especially if you're going first. Looking at the stratagems. Final Retribution. If a model is destroyed by a melee attack, on a 4+, it can fight on death. Now it's important to note that this model can't have fought in this phase so far. If you do have a Chaplain within 12 inches, which you do because you have Lemartes, you get +1 to that, so it's on a roll of a 3. Now the fact that you got an Inviscerator and 2 Power Fists in there, this gives you the option to pump out a little bit of attacks if you are under firepower. We have Wrathful Rampage. You could advance and charge, which is always useful. And if a Chaplain's within 12 inches, which they are, you can shoot as well, which is very nice. Glorious Sacrifice. If you're on an objective and the unit's been destroyed, you can use this stratagem to sticky the objective to take control of it, which is really nice. This is going to make your opponent consider whether to target your Death Company or not, because they are a high priority because of their damage output and their threat range. But if you do kill them and they just pop this and take the objective and hold on to it, you kind of not achieve part of your objective. Next we have Furious Onslaught. You get to pile in D3 plus 3 inches instead of 3 inches. And with the Chaplain, with Lemartes, or if you're below starting strength, you get to do this up to 6 inches instead. And finally, Lost to Rage. In melee, if below starting strength, you gain +1 AP on melee weapons. And you would gain Hazardous, but since we have Lemartes, we would not. So in conclusion, Lemartes is a really good option to lead the Death Company with jump packs, because he does grant them the lethal hits in melee, which really improves their damage output, especially in the new Codex since they lost some options. And having the ability to reduce incoming damage by 1 is really nice. So a lot of the weapons that have that 2 damage threshold, instead of every failed wound killing a Death Company, especially if you fail the Feel No Pain, it's going to take 2 of those going through to kill 1 rather than 1. He's a Chaplain, so he activates stratagems and ability buffs for any Death Company unit within 12 inches, so it's just not the ones he's leading. You'd probably notice that a lot of the stratagems and abilities, it's Chaplain within 12, which is quite nice to have, so you can use him to activate others. He does have a solid melee profile. He does have a souped up Crozius Arcanum, which essentially just gets the additional AP. But when he is in Liberator subgroup, which is probably the best attachment to have him in, you get the +1 attack and +2 strength, which is very nice to have, because then that's moving you onto 6 attacks and strength 8, which is a nice profile to have. He's got really good all-round ability to take on all armor types, especially if you're already on that strength 8. You're going to be wounding your standard Space Marines on 2s, And with that -2 AP and 2 damage, every failed save on a 5 is a dead Marine. But when you couple this with lethal hits as well, and it's lethal hits for the Death Company, and you get to re-roll the hits, even if not in the moment, because you do have the ability with the Death Company. This puts you in the position where you can actually really fish for those lethal hits if you're going into, say, a toughness 12 opponent. So instead of wounding those 5s, you are then going to critically hit and bypass that. So it adds a little bit more lethality to the unit, especially with the Power Fists and the Arcanum coming at -2 AP, which is quite a nice level to have. It'd be quite interesting if he was a lone op and he had an aura about him rather than just being attached to a unit. That would make him even better into Lost Brethren. He's a little bit pricey to go into that at the moment. You do have much cheaper options to activate those units, and he would be a huge loss in Lost Brethren, because he is a little bit on the pricey side. And outside of Lost Brethren, you are going to use him as in a kamikaze unit where they just absolutely bomb forward and annihilate an opponent, potentially try and get into a second one and tie something up, stay around for as long as possible, drawing as much aggro as they can, doing as much damage. But he's only 20 points cheaper than Dante, and Dante has just a much better profile. He's got more wounds when he's got the -1 to hit and wound in melee when he's with the Sanguinary Guard. He's got much better pistol, he's got much better axe, he's got more attack. So he's coming in with a worse profile, and he's only 20 points cheaper, so he probably needs a bit of movement there. Or possibly Dante might need to go up slightly. The other issue you do have is that the standard Chaplain is only 75 points, and you can upgrade him to have an Infernal Pistol, or you can change the pistol for a Power Fist altogether. And then if you are in Liberators, he is going to be on strength 10 with that Power Fist. With him being 35 points cheaper, he also comes with that +1 to wound ability in melee. And when engaged, when selected to fight, he does have the mortal wound ability as well. So coming in at your 35 points cheaper, he brings a lot to the board that Lemartes doesn't. But Lemartes does have a nice profile, and he could do with coming down by around 15 points. That will put him on a nice 95 points, in line with a lot of the Space Marine characters. He's not 35 points better than a Chaplain. He's relatively close to what the Chaplains are. So if he was 90 points, 95 points, that's 15 to 20 points rather than the 30 points, which is a little bit more bearable. But he is a great new model. He's fantastic to paint, and he looks awesome on the battlefield. And sometimes you have to bring that into account, especially if you're playing more casual games. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to see all future content. Take it easy, I'll see you next time.